You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom.
AKA worthlessly lazy, but so game crazy.
This is episode 79, and I am Church of the Game Grinder, and as always joined by my excellent co-host, Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
How's everyone doing today? Hopefully good, and hopefully in it for the long haul, because we got a lot of cool topics this week.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, not just some game announcement mentions. We got a few of those, some kind of surprising ones, some super exciting ones. Revival of Telltale Games. Is it true? Could it be? I think it is. Also, Gamescom happened. We might talk about a bit of that. And Michael Bay is going to try and get into gaming.
No.
I don't know, man. Anyway, so we got to hang out.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, surprise.
It was much cooler than Michael Bay wanted to be in gaming.
Kind of got to give like all props to your wife for setting it up.
Yeah, surprise. She's out of school for 2 weeks. She finished her one course and wanted to take me out of town. It kind of surprised me and celebrate a little bit that she passed her course with flying colors. So she let me know that we're gonna go to Minneapolis, and I was like, all right, who's driving?
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's me. All right, then that's why I'm invited.
Yeah, but we got to hang out.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yep.
Pretty briefer than when we usually hang out, but it was still cool.
Yeah. We hung out, and your wife and my fiance hung out, and I think we all had a good time.
Sweet, went out for some dinner, and then we played some video games, like we do.
Finally.
Yeah.
It's like almost every time we get hangouts going, like regardless of who it is, it's like we're always like, yeah, fuck it, we'll hang out, we'll play games, and we never play games.
Yeah, we play like the quickest games. We'll play like a game for half an hour, and then we'll just like visit.
Yeah.
Let's be more antisocial next time. We'll have to make a pact.
Right.
Like barely talk to each other. Like just walk in, have a game on already. Like I'll tell you about what time I'll be there. Just have it ready, and then just chuck me a controller when I like at the door.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go downstairs and just ignore everybody, even each other.
Yeah.
Just start gaming immediately. Yeah.
But we did get to play a Dead Space Extraction, which I've been like wanting to play for a long time.
Yeah, me too. I don't know why I was like not really neglecting it. It was just like there, and I'm like, I wanted to do kind of like a light gun.
Yeah.
We kind of like what I do with my VR binges. Like I wanted to do a light gun binge with like the Wii and then the PlayStation Move and get that going, because I've been playing a lot of VR, neglecting a lot of the other stuff. So I thought that would be cool. And yeah, you got me wanting to do it even more now, because that was pretty fun.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I would say, like, we, especially, like, with the kids, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but the most we have played recently is when I'm capturing gameplay for my videos, and then even then I'm like, I gotta cut myself off, because I'll start playing, like, the last time I was playing Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, and I was just like, damn it. Stop playing. I just got right into it immediately, and I was like, okay. Just capture enough footage for your, like, 1.5 minute clip and just cut it out.
Yeah.
But
we didn't play the Wii version of Dead Space Extraction, though. We played it on the PS3. If you have Dead Space 2 Limited Edition for the PlayStation 3, which it's not like fancy packaging or anything, but it includes Dead Space Extraction, which is neat because that's the only other way you can play it. And it's just an on-rail shooter in the Dead Space universe.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. I gotta confess, I've never played the Move. I've had Move for a while. I basically like intended to check it out at one point, but I don't know. I just never get to my PS3. My PS3 has been longer since I played that than my Wii. So
I mean, this was the first time I ever used those on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
busted out the camera. Really well. It was slick. I mean, it's pretty easy to set up. I don't know if there's any other games.
We figured out how to use it better too. Like at first, we were like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah.
But then we got the gist of it. And yeah. I admitted we were kind of bad at it at first, but we figured it out.
Yeah.
Smart fellas. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think we must have like 90% beat it too. It seemed like it was ramping up, and then we had to go.
Man.
Sad times, but we'll definitely finish. I guess you'll be chucking me a rifle next time I get there, so we can finish that shit off.
Hell yeah!
But yeah, it was good. Then checked out Mall of America. She's been wanting to go the last like 5 times we've come down, and she always just kind of brushes it off like, yeah, we don't have time. Don't worry about it. I'm like, sure. So this time it was kind of like the second day main focus was that. So I'm also going to be coming down in November for a convention. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Not a gaming convention, but some cool gaming related people will be there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I only go to gaming conventions. The only ones I've been to are MGC the last 2 years and E3. I've been to comic conventions before that, but it's been a couple of years since, the kids. It's, fewer and far between. I got to be picky with what I do. And the one that we went to before, I think we went like 3 or 4 times, just hasn't really had any guests that really grabbed my attention. So that's pretty much the main reason I haven't gone. I'm like, is it really worth the trip to not really want to meet any of the people and just get comic books? Like, I could just go to a comic book store anywhere.
Yep.
Basically. Yeah, so, besides us hanging out, what have you been up to, bud? What have you been playing?
I have been playing lots of Chrono Trigger and Chrono Trigger related stuff. Last time I talked about Chrono Trigger we talked about Chrono Trigger in depth, sort of, more just gushing about.
How good is it? It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
So I played the DS version. I finished it up. For the base Chrono Trigger experience, it's all there. DS version is retranslated, but I didn't really notice a whole lot of difference.
It didn't have that wacky of a translation. Like, there wasn't any parts that you were like,
what? Frog, he had like the
Old English.
English that he doesn't have that anymore, which was kind of. It was like but it wasn't that bad. Like I thought I would really miss it.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
But so the main things with the DS version is after a certain. I mean, do I need to worry about spoilers with Chrono Trigger?
I don't think so.
Okay, so after Chrono dies, when the game opens up, 2 portals show up in 2 different times. And these portals both go to this place called the Lost Sanctum. Lost Sanctum is a new, dungeon place. It's like, it's a reptite cave. Those are the little lizards from the BC, the 10 million BC.
Yep. And
basically you're doing a bunch of quests. And some of the past stuff affects the future. Basically sometimes you have to go back and forth. But there's different reptites in the 2 different sanctums. And there's a forest, a marsh, a cave, and a mountain. And you're basically just going back and forth doing side quests for these reptites, which sounds like it'd be okay. But it's basically just back and forth fetch quest and
just tacked on bullshit,
basically. I don't know if this was cut content or if this was they made this new to just try to throw in some extra content. But it's
We've already thoroughly beat it on both other previous options.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like they entirely kind of missed the point. Like, Chrono Trigger in general is just like such a concise game. It's a game that respects your time. Yeah,
it's very streamlined. It isn't grind heavy.
No grinding. Everything like has like significance to the world. Has a purpose. The Lost Sanctum just
thing,
it's just like, you know what? Its tagline is Lost Sanctum. Screw your time. I hated it. Like I played through it all. It took a couple hours to get through all the quests.
Yeah.
Maybe more than a couple hours.
Well, how do you really add, like, just the thought of it adding on to that game? You're like, what are you really gonna add?
Yeah, and this is just
another
like
branching. They'd have to like really deep dig to like add another complete branching path that they'd have to like weave it into the game. You can't just like,
I mean, that's
here's another dungeon.
That's
like,
how they maybe should have done it, or just not did anything. But basically, what it is like they're like, I was in the forest and I dropped a stone. Can you get it for me? If you see it, bring it back. So it's like, okay, so you run up to this forest, get the stone, bring it back.
Why didn't you go look?
The worst part is like at first it's like, okay, I run up here, and then they have me run to the marsh, and it's like, okay, and then you have it run over to the mountain area, and it's like, okay, but then they're like, I swear, like you go back and forth to this mountain up and down, and then sometimes you have to leave entirely, go to the different time, go to the mountain again, like 15 times in a row, back and forth, like multiple screens.
Man, it sounds like when you were just in the kitchen and someone's like,
but now do it like seriously, like
you go in there and you're like, do I anything else while I'm in here?
And then you come back out, and then like you end up doing this like 10 times. Like it's awful. So for anybody who plays the DS version, do not play the Lost Sanctum. Like seriously, don't bother. Like, do not bother. It's terrible. It makes me upset because I know there's people that Chrono Trigger on the DS was their first Chrono Trigger experience, and they played that, and I guarantee either they started playing that and then they quit playing the game because they're like, this sucks, or there's just this stain. There's this stain on Chrono Trigger.
It was pretty good for a bit there. Then I was like, meh.
So then the other piece was after you beat the game, I think regardless of what ending you get, 3 portals show up. And these 3 portals are the Lost Dimension. And this piece of content was actually kind of cool. You basically play through, like, you go to one of these portals, and then either you get like kind of like it's like a quest for Chrono, Marl, or Luca, and you play through like 5 screens of random areas from the game. Like you'll go through one screen of one area, and then it's a different screen for a different area, and then you do a boss fight. You get like a stat boost to one of those characters, which is kind of cool. It doesn't take that long. It's like maybe like, I don't know, 20-30 minutes to run through each thing. But after you do all 3, you get essentially a new chunk of content, sort of a new boss fight. You go to an area that has, I forget what they call. It's like it's Lavos, but a different flavor of Lavos. And it's kind of significant because it ends up being you encounter Magus. He's there. There's this like Time Devourer, I think is actually what it's called, and Shala, and
the Time Devourer. So they make you do the Lost Sanctum again?
No. Fortunately, but it actually it's a new like significant story piece that tries to kind of bridge Chrono Trigger, even Radical Dreamers and Chrono Cross. It tries to bridges them and explains it. And if anybody played the PlayStation 1 Chrono Trigger, there's the animated endings and the new cutscenes and stuff. Like the end of one of the like the main ending actually is like significant to Chrono Cross, and all tries to tie it together with a little baby and a medallion. Anyways, whatever. I'm probably going on too long about this.
That's pretty cool though.
Lost Dimension content in Chrono Trigger, worth playing, especially if you want to try to like continue on into either Radical Dreamers or Chrono Cross. I think it's worth it because it adds kind of like a bridge effect to it, which is interesting, even though Radical Dreamers and Chrono Cross are both like alternate timelines, less than like direct sequels.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of where I know a lot of animosity towards Chrono Cross came, as actually me, like, is like, oh, it's not an actual sequel, and it's whatever.
Well, with so many different endings, like, they'd have to pick an ending and go with it,
Yeah.
or else it would be like, or else I guess you could start the game, it would be kind of like the Mass Effects did, that if you hadn't played, you could like set it up with what choices you made at the beginning. I guess they could have done that.
And actually, like, so in all the endings of Chrono Trigger, the original, 13 endings or whatever, if you get like the main ending on the PlayStation 1 version and you watch that animated cutscene, it's like not even the ending itself, it's that animated cutscene is the new ending, which is the like kind of like the Chrono Cross and Radical Dreamers continuity. Like, it branches out because, like I said, they show the baby, and the baby essentially is Shala, and that leads into the other games. But enough of that, I guess. I do want to talk about Radical Dreamers real quick. I'll try not to go on too far or too long about this, but I really want to talk about it. So Radical Dreamers, I'm sure some of you have heard about it. A lot of people, I think, I know some people are under the impression that it was like a fan game. Radical Dreamers was an actual like released game by the creators, some of the main creators of Chrono Trigger, the main writer, Kato. I forget his first name. He's the guy who wrote Chrono Trigger. He wrote Chrono Cross. He also wrote Radical Dreamers. It has Mitsuda, the composer. Same composer from Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, also involved with Radical Dreamers. And I think there was one other person, but I can't remember right now off the top of my head. But essentially, Radical Dreamers was made available from the Satellaview in Japan, which is also where like some of those, the people call them BS Zelda.
BS Zelda, yeah.
There's like the Tablet of Time and something else, I think.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
But they were
bunch of the games that were exclusive to that luckily somebody backed up, so you can get repros of most.
Yes. So these were only in Japan. You had to have the Satellaview attachment, which was basically just like it was like a networked Super Nintendo where you could just download games.
That sounds super awesome.
Yeah. Of course we didn't get it. But Radical Dreamers was one of these games. And basically, from my understanding, the writer of Chrono Trigger wasn't like totally satisfied with how he left Chrono Trigger when it was all said and done. Like, I get the impression like the kind of like this timeline concept, like he wanted to express that there's like different continuities, and so he came up with Radical Dreamers to try to explain that a little better. So Radical Dreamers builds off of that PS1 animated ending section where because the PS1 was actually added retroactively because the PlayStation 1 version wasn't until like 1999, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they added those, and that was after Chrono Cross. So basically, Radical Dreamers is an offshoot of if the Kingdom of Guardia in 600 AD, if it fell, not necessarily to the monsters, but just war, and Magus, after the events of Chrono Trigger, he lost his memories, and Luca finds this baby, and this baby is actually Shala, which is explained in Radical Dreamers, and I think in Chrono Cross even. And Radical Dreamers is essentially the two main characters from Chrono Cross, Surge and Kid. Kid being AKA, in Radical Dreamers anyways, Shala. She finds that out at the end of the game. But this is a text-based visual novel dungeon crawler. So it's like almost like reading a choose your own adventure book, and you know how choose your own adventure books would have like a couple pictures of like maybe a room or a monster or something. That's kind of what this does. Like you always have like a thing to look at, but it's not like super in depth. Like
it's like a cutscene or anything.
Yeah. So the beginning of the game, basically, it's like a very simply drawn 16-bit scene of like 3 characters overhead walking on a path. You see some like water and some trees, and you see that for like minutes as there's like all this dialogue. There is random battles like once you get into the castle, and you actually like, you know, you're playing to choose your own adventure, but you're exploring. So like you go into the castle and you can go left or right in this hallway. Which way do you go? So you go right. Oh, you come to a door. What do you want to do? You can go in the door, you can go back, or you can continue down the hallway kind of stuff. And every once in a while you get in like random battles. So it actually does have some gameplay, but for any fans of Chrono Trigger who are interested in more than just Chrono Trigger, maybe how it connects to Chrono Cross, or even just kind of getting more of the universe, I guess, I would really, really recommend Radical Dreamers. You can get a repro. You can just get the ROM. There's no other official release of this, so those are the only 2 ways to play it. It's been translated for a really long time. The translation's really good. I would say even especially if you're fans of visual novels or you just like good writing, like the writing by far is the absolute best part about Radical Dreamers. It is written so well. Like it's like a choose your own adventure book, but like the best writing there could possibly be. Like it's so descriptive. It's like having like just a really good dungeon master who is just like he so descriptive, and he gets you like super immersed in the campaign. You know, he describes the you know the sense and the way the wall feels as you touch it as you walking down the stairs kind of stuff. Like it's super good.
Sweet. While we're on that topic, have you ever tried Crimson Echoes?
I have not, and that is one of the fan games. There's 2 fan games.
Yeah,
and
the one that was like 98% finished
Yeah,
when they got a cease and desist.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome.
And I've heard good things, and I've read some not good things, but then there's also like there's a team that tried to like, okay, they're like, well, 98% finished, we're gonna finish it and we're gonna touch up some things, and that's the like Flames of something. That's the other fan game. But I hear a lot of people.
Pretty weak name though, Flames of something.
Yeah, whatever. I hear that like I kind of get a vibe that one, like, unless you're like really into fan games, like they say if you're gonna play one of them, play Crimson Echoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna recommend it. It's pretty sweet fan game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel really derivative. It's actually feels like it could be a sequel.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Radical Dreamers, definitely recommend checking it out. I mean, you can look up some videos for some good examples. I mean, I'm sure there's Let's Plays. I will say it
should have streamed it, dude.
Hefty content. It took me about 3 hours to get through the main story, and then what's kind of neat is after you beat the game, it triggers like an option where you can play through a second, like a New Game Plus, and if you choose this new option, and then it opens up the door for like 9 different scenarios to just like funny endings kind of stuff, and they are like batshit insane, like other scenarios. And it took me about, I'd say 6 hours to play through these 9 other like campaigns. Like one of them's almost like another full playthrough of the game, but it's just like nuts. Like I don't even know how to explain it without like just telling you what these scenarios are, but it's pretty funny. There's like one that's like a Zero Wing spoof, which was programmed in by the people. Like that's crazy. It's crazy, but it's cool. It's neat. So
you enjoyed it?
Yes, is awesome. Then I want to give a shout out to Ion Fury, which was finally released. It is a game made in the original Build engine, which was the same engine of Duke Nukem and Blood and Shadow Warrior back in the day. This is like full-on retro engine, not modded. It is exactly what it was, and this game was pretty sweet. It's made by 3D Realms and Void Point, and
they got John St. John to be a character in it.
Yeah, he's there's two characters that do voice acting, there's two characters in the game. There's Shelly Bombshell, which is the main character. She was also in the game called Bombshell. That was an isometric shooter that kind of got bad reviews, and this is a prequel essentially. But like, holy crap! Like, this game was like almost like 10 hours to go through, like 9 levels. Each level took me like an hour to an hour and a half. It's just, they went all out, like the amount of detail, she's spouting lines the whole time. If you're into the old shooters, this is probably like,
Wet Dream?
Man, it might be the best of all of them, honestly. Like, it's really good. It was great. So, do recommend.
Sweet. Know what you're playing now that you beat that?
I just started Control last night.
Awesome.
Which I was super hyped about when we talked about that on the podcast when it first got announced. I got like 3 hours in right now. I'm loving it. It's crazy. It's a third person, like, kind of behind the shoulder sort of game. Mm-hmm. Plays a lot like those.
Basically like superpowers almost.
Yeah.
But it's almost like more like the Force.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The Force and like.
And it's crazy. Like, just the whole concept of like this organization, and like, so it's like, I won't go much into it, but like, so the main character, Jessie, like, the game starts out, she goes into this building, and you find out like this building is this Federal Bureau of Control. It's a secret agency, and this building's in New York, but the building itself is like almost like the kind of like the thing about this game is they're called paranormal. It's like not paranormal. They use another word for it, but essentially there's objects that, like, somehow in just our day-to-day lives there'll be an object that somehow becomes like, I wouldn't say it's almost like a paranormal object. Like, one day
mystical.
One day, my water bottle, all of a sudden, like, weird shit starts happening because my water bottle is now this object that has these powers, and if I touch it, all of a sudden I disappeared, and the person's gone, and they're like, what the hell? So this agency, like, kind of collects these objects, but the building itself is one of these objects. So it's in New York. Like, nobody sees this building. It's there, but because they're not looking for it, they don't know it's there because the building doesn't want to be found, kind of stuff. Like, it's crazy. And then, like, the levels and just some of the background, like, you read these reports of, like, other objects, and it's awesome. It's getting great reviews. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's amazing reviews, actually. And the only thing I've seen is I saw something about it saying it had performance issues, but hopefully that was like for pre-launch stuff.
There's a couple instances where, like, it might be like an action scene where, like, the game, like, almost like it. Well, I was just playing a scene a little earlier, and the game, like, almost like completely froze, like it stopped, and then it started going again. It's like, oh, okay, like, it really chugs. And I just have a regular PlayStation, so maybe on a Pro it might be better, but it's not enough to, like, ruin anything for me. It was just like, I wouldn't even said anything if you wouldn't have mentioned it.
Yeah, it's just got a couple stutters. Yeah, I just saw something when I was trying to refresh my memory of topics we could talk about.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's too bad. But I watched, like, I don't really go by reviews or anything, but I was curious, and I watched Before You Buy. That's one of the only things I really watch, because it's just kind of a whatever. Like, they show gameplay more than they just rip on something if they don't like it.
Sure.
And it looked really cool. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on it as it is, but with so many games coming out, I decided that I would wait a little while on that one. Hopefully it'll, like, just when it's a little cheaper or something, I'll snag it. But I've got
Completely opposite for me. Where
a lot of things coming out in the next couple weeks.
as soon as I saw that first trailer, I was instantly sold, and I pre-ordered the game.
Yeah, it's been in my cart the whole time. But I've got Man of Medan and Astral Train coming out on Friday.
Yep.
I got Collection of Mana came out yesterday.
I got that shit too.
I got what else I got?
But I got Control because
Too much shit.
hell yes.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'm trying to limit what I'm buying right now, so it's one I'm gonna wait on.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. You know, a little chatty about Chrono Trigger, but you know,
got you talking about Chrono Trigger.
hell yeah. So
we need to have a button if you start talking about Chrono Trigger or Shantae. We need to a little like taser.
So
it just invigorates me even more.
Right, yeah, gets me hyped. So what have you been up to?
Well, shortly after our last episode, I had my WWF No Mercy YouTube Battle Royale fight, and it went awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a lot of fun. I had one little hiccup where the game froze.
Yeah.
Which sucked.
It was like
it was at the if it was to freeze, it was actually at the perfect
it
point
kind of
because I remembered who had been eliminated, and I was able to pick the amount because there's only certain sets of numbers that you can pick for how many people you want in the match, and it was the exact amount that we had left. So I was able to just pop it right back in and keep going, and it felt a lot like a pay-per-view. Like I said, I really wanted to get somebody else to be like a co-commentator, so it'd be even more like one. But I tried to keep the hype up the whole time as best I could. If they hadn't got rid of Hangouts, it probably would have been a lot more doable. But it is what it is, and I think it went well for essentially my first stream. So yeah, we had quite a few people watching. I was actually pretty impressed. I thought.
Yeah, I wish the AI was just a little bit better. Like they seem really dumb at times.
Yeah.
No weapons, bad with the supers.
Yeah, no one grabbed weapons. Sometimes, they just trigger the super, and then just at the worst time when there was no one to grab to do it, they were not allowing knockouts at all.
Yeah,
which was weird because you'd see someone doing that strenuous sit up, where they're about to pass out, and sometimes they get up from that, but every time they would do that, they would pick them up. So it was a little frustrating to watch. I was just like, oh man, I kind of wish I was playing right now. But it was pretty there were some nail biting moments.
Yeah,
there was people.
Yeah, it was
some
fun.
people got disappointingly eliminated pretty quick, just like in real life, But like the real wrestling.
Yeah.
And then some people stuck around forever. Like we had Joel from Media Glitch was in there for like a good long time, and he was one of the first people in the match. So it was pretty. Everyone had someone to root for. I was I think I did one of the worst of everybody. So anyone that felt like, oh man, I got the shitty end of the stick, I was like, I'm right there with you, brother. I don't think I didn't do much of anything. I should have just stayed at the announcer table.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end was pretty epic. I don't want to spoil any of it in case someone wants to watch it, but it was pretty great. I had a hell of a time, and I definitely want to do something sooner rather than later with that again. I want to tweak the movesets more because I cloned one creator wrestler basically, and then just tweaked the looks, a bunch of the grapple moves, and I left things that I thought, they won't really use that, and they actually ended up using them a lot more than I expected. So when I do another thing going forward, I'll tweak the moves a lot more, so it's more, not as many repeated moves. But all things considered, I thought it went pretty awesome. And even while it was going on, people were like, "What are you following this up with?" So I got a few things in the old brand that I'm working on. We already during the match we even talked about doing like a tag team King of the Ring for some of the teams that didn't get to be in the match at the same time because it only lets you have like 4 people at once. So it's we got a couple cool ideas coming up with that. Besides that, though, I've been ridiculously busy. Like as I said, my last days off, we were down in Minneapolis, so that didn't leave for much gaming besides at your house. And then this week I've been just hardcore trying to build this lean-to for my shed, or for my garage, which is basically another small shed, and nothing is agreeing with me. It's taken so much time. Like the weather, it's been raining,
Yep.
it's been awful, and just everything else working against me. I got some progress today that I'm happy with, but no one's here to hear about my home renovation shit.
I mean, I dig those conversations, but yeah, not so much for the
I played some Fire Emblem. Well, that's why I haven't got to play much. That's what I've been up to. I played some Fire Emblem. Not much to even speak of. Just a couple levels. Still enjoying it. It's got some more like story stuff. It's not just like a little like story cutscene and then right into another battle. So that might rub some people the wrong way, especially if you're a long-time Fire Emblem fan. It's got.
Maybe. I haven't heard anything bad about it. Everyone seems to love it.
Yeah, it's just it depends what you like about it. It's definitely got more in terms of story, but there's also parts in between where you do other things before you go to a battle. So if all you want is straight battles, that might be a problem for you. I don't know. I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from playing this game because it's great, but yeah, there's some parts that I was thinking like, oh, it's kind of like Trails of Cold Steel, but not to that extent. Like there was no extensive time in between where that's what I was, when we were talking about that's what I was saying, like it wasn't really gripping me because it was like too long in between battles and more like making friends and crap, and I'm like, I don't need to make any friends, I need to kill stuff. So yeah, it's still awesome. I definitely want to play a lot more of it. I should have beat it by now as far as I'm concerned, especially with Astral Chain coming out on Friday. I am really, really looking forward to that, and it's getting ridiculously good reviews. So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nintendo's winning the summer. Just kidding. I gotta do things just to make you cringe once in a while, just to keep you awake. Besides that, for stuff I've been playing, I've actually been playing stuff in my backlog for my VR, which pertains to one of my videos coming up. So I played a bit of Time Carnage, which is basically like a wave survival shooter. You just stand in a place. It takes place in different time periods, so it changes the enemies up enough. Right when you start to get bored of a certain kind of enemy, you switch to a different timeline. You basically just stand there. You've got 4 pillars with guns mounted on them, and you can grab one. And when it runs out of ammo, you let go of it, grab another one, and the one you let go of will go on to one of the pillars wherever you pick you want it to go to, and it'll slowly recharge to reload. You don't just like shoot off screen like like you would in like a House of the Dead type game. So you got to be mindful of like what you're using and how much you're using it, because there might be one you need like almost like a rainy day gun. Like, oh yeah, I can handle this, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, there's 2 giant zombies or something, and you gotta like pick out something that'll do quick damage, but it'll be something that like takes forever to recharge. So you gotta be mindful of that. It's a lot of fun. It's a very basic concept, but out of games like that I've played, I really enjoyed it a lot. I would almost, I guess Blasters of the Universe would be kind of like it, but you don't do as much dodging. You basically, it's almost like you were sitting in a chair and there's a shield around you protecting you, and if they attack it too much, they get through it and kill you. So it's basically just keep everything back. And yeah, like I said, very basic concept, but awesome execution. I played about 3/4 of the way through that. It's a lot of fun. And besides that, I played Apex Construct, not to be confused with Apex Legends. It's kind of a weird game. It's like a post-apocalyptic type game, I guess, where you fight these like crabs that kind of remind me of something from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
Your main weapon is a bow and arrow. It reminds me a lot of the bow and arrow from Operation Warcade, which isn't a bad thing. It's pretty fun from what I played of it. I played a couple hours of it, and you just this AI is giving you an objective, or maybe it's just somebody else messaging you, and you have to go and do objectives for little missions. And so far I haven't really encountered a lot of other things, but there's some really cool set pieces in it, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. I heard good stuff about it when I looked it up, so so far it's pretty fun. The little bit of the maneuvering is kind of weird, but it's nothing like it makes me dizzy or anything, but it's just like some stuff that seems a little clunky, but overall it's pretty decent. And
Sweet.
That's all I've played, sadly.
Well, it's a little bit.
Ramping it up after I get the shed built. I'm not doing anything responsible for a while.
Yeah.
Then I'll just quit my job and play games.
It's the
I
way
built
to
a
go.
shed. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. I don't have to prove nothing to the bank.
Exactly.
And I'm homeless. And I don't have power to play games.
Yeah. There you go.
But besides that, why don't we just jump into our retro game highlight?
Yeah, so last time I had talked about Rambo 3 on the Sega Master System.
You did.
Classic game as far as I'm concerned. I mean, obviously it's on the Sega Master System, so it's a little classic, but
Yeah.
So what you got for us this
Master
time?
I got Parasite Eve on PS1.
Ooh, so good.
Who doesn't love that?
I love that.
A nice, basically like a horror cinematic RPG. Love it.
Yeah, super good.
And the second one, but the first one is, it's in like a kind of like a class of its own. It was something really different at the time when it came out, because everything was kind of more of a JRPG feel to it. You know, you had a couple other things doing different stuff, but this one really stood out. It was kind of like a halfway in between Silent Hill and like Final Fantasy or something.
Yeah, it was Squaresoft on the PlayStation 1 was like a glorious time, because they did some really were trying some different things, and they made some really cool games. You know, of course we got Final Fantasy 7, but no
one played that, so
it was like that, and Parasite Eve, and like Brave Fencer Musashi, and Einhander, and Bushido Blade, like it wasn't just all RPGs from them, which is pretty much what they're known for. Which is it's always cool to check out their little, because if they believe in it enough to take a jump into something that they don't usually do, it's probably going to be something they put a lot of work into. Like, look at even like last gen and current gen, they're doing stuff like I don't know, Sleeping Dogs and stuff like that, like totally outside of their realm of things they usually do. So but definitely PS1 and Super Nintendo are their like golden age. Can do no wrong days, I think. Parasite Eve, that's one game or series I would love for them to do like a remastered collection for.
Yeah, or like another one maybe.
Do it.
The only one I haven't played is the PSP one, and
Yeah.
I hear to kind of avoid it, so I haven't picked it up. Like, I hear pretty mixed things, but usually more to the like it wrecks the series kind of.
Yeah.
I
still intend to play it someday.
Yeah. Do you have it?
I don't.
Okay.
Yet.
Well,
eventually.
Yeah. Well, I'll get it. I mean, if I'll get anything at the right price, but the prices I've seen it at, I'm like, I haven't heard that amount of money worth of good stuff about it. So, meh.
Yeah.
Pass on it, get something else. But one of these days, I definitely want to pick it up. And I really hope they revive some of these series. Like, it's especially like PS1, PS2 had a lot of just sick games that were like one-offs, maybe two, and then they just ended with that around that time that it's just a bummer. Like Parasite Eve, this Suikoden series, they put out 3 or 4 games in one console life, and then they just didn't make any more after. What the hell?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, check it out if you haven't played it. If you like horror, if you like RPGs,
Totally.
get on it.
Hell yes. So, I guess we could jump into some news stuff. We got some stuff this time. Like there's
some newsy news. Some things
there's
actually happened.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on right now. So,
And it's not old news yet, so that's actually awesome.
yeah.
We
And actually,
feel like a lot of the times we pick out stuff and then we're like, yeah, everyone's been already talking about that. So
Yeah.
like, YouTube tends to ruin our things we want to talk about because we're like, we got nothing to add that 300 other YouTubers haven't already jumped all over. So
I mean, that's
whatever.
probably going to be
We don't want to
true.
bore you. We
That's
want you to listen and enjoy yourself and not be like, okay, how long are they going to talk about this? I'm going to skip ahead.
Well, that's what they do for most things we talk about, I'm sure. But we got some stuff that hasn't necessarily been talked to death yet. Give it a couple days and it will be. But
Hurry, let's get this uploaded.
oh man, I will say
live stream this.
I'm super excited to hear that Telltale Games has been purchased by a company called LCG Entertainment, and they are not changing the name of the studio or, well, the games, the brand. It's still Telltale Games, but their plan is to keep these games available and possibly keep some of the series going. You know, whether or not that happens, who knows?
I sure the hell hope so. I'd like to see more of Batman, stuff like that they had in the pipeline, like more Wolf Among Us.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It would be sweet. So,
But Batman. Yeah.
yeah.
Can't help it. I love Batman.
I would say this is a big fingers crossed.
Don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Here's
that was my
hoping.
RuPaul quote for nobody to get my wife if she actually listens to the podcast this time.
So then we got some Yacht Club news. They did their own little, they call it Yacht Club Presents, which seems kind of silly, but whatever. They gave us some cool announcements. Maybe we got a release date for December. They're saying the final The King of Cards campaign, they said December. They didn't give us a date in December. But hey, maybe King of Cards is going to be out in December. That would be sweet. I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
Now, if it's going to actually be December or get delayed again, we don't know.
They didn't say which December.
Yeah, right. But with that, so there's a new trailer for the King of Cards campaign where they show off a new added feature that there's going to be like a card game in it, which
I would hope so with that name.
yeah, and then along with that, there's also the previously announced Shovel Knight Showdown, which is like the multiplayer battler. And then as well as the Amiibo 3-pack, which is going to have functions with the Showdown. If you scan them, you can get like alternate costumes for some of the characters and stuff.
Sweet.
But then the really neat thing that came out of this Yacht Club Presents is they announced a game called Shovel Knight Dig, which was a... it's not them. They're not making it, but another studio.
What the hell?
Dang it! I just had it. Where was it?
Yeah, it looks like
Nitrome is the name of the company. I'm not really familiar. They had one other game, Bomb Chicken.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am vaguely
I'm not familiar
familiar.
with it. I'm not remotely familiar with that shit.
I'm vaguely familiar just because it's on sale all the time on Steam. But they're making this game called Shovel Knight Dig, which looks pretty neat. The style is similar to Shovel Knight.
Yeah, graphically looks the same, but there's a lot of new mechanics.
Like, it's a little bit like... I wouldn't say like chibi, but it's like... there's like... It has its own like kind of like twist to the Shovel Knight style, but like it looks like the whole point of the game is like going down through levels, like digging.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty cool. Check out the trailer. If that's something that, fingers crossed, maybe physical version. I'm feeling that it's probably not going to have a physical at launch anyways, but
yeah,
I hope so.
I hope so too. The more Shovel Knight in my collection, the better.
Yeah. And then I know one that you wanted to really hit on that I had thrown on our agenda was the Disney Classic Games collection.
Yeah. So coming out in October here, we got Aladdin and The Lion King in a 2-pack getting the HD remake release treatment.
Pretty random, but maybe not
Random.
with the live action movies, I guess.
Yeah, it makes sense, but at the same time, like, everyone's so super stoked about it, and I understand the Aladdin hype.
I mean,
And what I'm just not
cool.
completely clear on is the Lion King hype. Because all I ever see about the Lion King is people ripping on it for how hard it is, how frustrating it is. How is this game made for kids? You know,
Right.
every time I see it mentioned, it's all I see.
Yeah.
I don't know if them adding a rewind feature or a jump in whenever you want feature
Oh yeah.
is
That's
what's got it going, because all of a sudden, like, I haven't seen one person be like, "Why Lion King? That game sucks. It's so hard." Like,
no. It's just
now people are just like,
because everybody's brainwashed by Disney to love anything Disney.
whatever.
I mean, I think
Like,
it's neat,
Like I
but
said, I get the Aladdin. Like, people still talk about how awesome Aladdin was. Like, some people's favorite Genesis game is Aladdin. And that's fine. It's an awesome game. It's better than the Super Nintendo version, but the Super Nintendo version is pretty tight too.
yeah.
I had the Game Boy version when I was younger. I liked that. It was a lot of fun.
I had the
and
Tiger
that's actually
handheld.
included in this.
I didn't actually have the Tiger handheld, but
I was just gonna say, you could stay home.
I'm pretty sure there wasn't a Tiger handheld. But
Well, I'm sure there was, and I'm sure it was just right, awesome, just the best. Probably the peak Aladdin and Lion King experience.
right.
It's like I'm in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah. When I started
game.
collecting, I'm like, oh yeah, of course I'm getting Aladdin and Lion King. But I mean, I don't know. I think the hype's a little
I don't-
overblown.
Yeah, I mean, some people are
So,
just
Oh my god!
Yeah, the
like-
same kind of culprits that overreact to every single
Yeah,
announcement
I guess.
of everything. But like I said,
Hype
it's cool,
culture.
but it's actually just that it's the two games. It's the same people that
Yeah,
did the Saturday morning cartoon collection.
yeah.
Like 2 years ago.
And from my understanding,
DuckTales 1 and 2,
They did a good
Chip
job on
and Dale
that.
1 and 2, Tailspin, and Darkwing Duck. Yeah, I bought it. It's awesome. Every game plays as it should. So, right on. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering why they didn't continue that forward and put like more of like the 16-bit.
What do you think they're gonna charge? Did they give a price?
$30.
$30.
$30. Yeah.
$30.
I'm pretty sure you could get both. You know, I mean, not all the versions, but you could get a version, your favorite version of each of them for about that price. or less.
$30.
Yeah,
Sounds a
they're
bit
not
much.
exactly pricey. They're not exactly pricey. Well, you know, for physical version, whatever. I guess that's reasonable.
Well, I mean, for this, $30
Yeah.
for this seems like a
know.
bit much.
I don't know. It's for those people who
Seems
screwed up
at
the Super
least-
Nintendo because it was garbage.
At
And
least
didn't want the
$10
Genesis
too
because
much.
it's old hat.
Maybe $20. I'd be like, okay, that's
But physical version makes sense.
30.
Digital version, that's horseshit.
There's no physical version announced. I don't think.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I don't know why they would show it in Switch cases and Xbox cases and PS4 cases in the announcement then. That's a little misleading.
Did
But
they
either
show
way,
that in the announcement?
on any announcement photo I've seen?
Oh, okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. Either way. I think that $30 is about as cheap as you're going to get for a physical version of anything. Because look at limited run, every game they put
Sure.
out is $30 plus. So, I'm not knocking the price for physical, but digitally, I'd say $15.
Yeah.
You know, maybe. But, yeah, I just don't understand why they're not, you know, putting out some more of their, like, classic Disney games from the 16-bit era like they did with the 8-bit era ones, because I was all over that Saturday Morning collection, even though I own most of the NES games. Obviously not the pricier ones, but, well, I mean, half of those are pretty pricey, so I own a couple of them. But, you know, stuff like Maui Mallard and Cold Shadow and stuff like that, that's like kind of, you know, less known, but it's a decent game. You know, obviously they've already done the Magical Quest and Castle of Illusion and all that kind of stuff, so that makes sense that that's not out. But I don't know, they included DuckTales in the Saturday morning cartoon when they had the, you know, the remake of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what my problem is just that I didn't get the hype. If it was just all for Aladdin, I get it. Or people are just hyped because they like Lion King and just don't remember the game.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
I'm just confused. I'm not shitting on it. I just was like, Aladdin, cool, but why Lion King? There's a lot of cooler games that came out. I don't know. If you're excited about it, that's cool. I want to know if you're excited about that.
Yeah.
And if you're excited about Lion King, I'd like to know that too. I mean, with the rewind feature, I guess it would be less annoying. And maybe you could be like, cool, I can get more. What's the level everyone always gets stuck on, like the Elephant Graveyard, like the 3rd level?
Yeah.
So I can actually see what the end of this game looks like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool.
So I guess kind of, you know, more quote unquote retro revivals. WoW Classic has been launched on the 26th.
And some people are still waiting to get in.
Yeah, some people are definitely still waiting. Because, of course, much as Blizzard, a.k.a. Activision, said, why would anybody want this? So they severely underestimated the excitement for it, and they have a lack of servers and queue times. To get onto some servers has been reported up to 5 hours. And if you want to deal with your quests and talk to quest givers, you stand in line, because that's the only way people could like control the chaos, was to actually like form lines in game.
Velvet rope. Do you have an invitation? Yeah,
but
so, it's not as much of fighting a boss as running a train on them, because they gotta wait in line to beat him for the quest. You know.
Yeah.
That sounds super frustrating.
I mean,
I know how hyped people were, even though Activision's stupid, thinking that no one would be interested in this crap. But.
So here's hoping they do the right thing and they address this for the demand, and you know.
Well, you know they will. It's a money making machine.
Well, it's Activision,
and they like money.
Sometimes. They like money on their terms, not on your terms.
Yeah, they like money, but they don't like earning it. Is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not a WoW fan, so it doesn't bother me whatsoever. But I just feel bad for those that I know were like counting down the days.
Yeah. So we got a couple other collections that were announced.
Yeah. One I'm pretty stoked about, because I actually haven't played any of the games in this collection, and that's kind of weird with how much I like the series. But they announced the Mega Man Zero collection.
Cue the bad Mega Zero voice acting clip that What am I fighting for?
Yeah, so it's got Mega Man 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Mega Man ZX and Mega Man ZX Advent. So, yeah, I not only have I not played them, I rarely even see them in like game stores or anything when I go in it. Like, they're like, I don't know, it must be like a low release Mega Man game. But I've seen a couple of the DS ones, but they're usually just overpriced, so I don't fucks with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to check them out. More Mega Man is only ever a good thing to me. So, let's do this.
Yeah.
So that comes out, I believe, next year?
Yeah, I don't think there was a date on that.
There was, but I'm an idiot and I didn't fucking write it down.
But...
Yeah, I'm super excited to
But there is a collection.
Just 2020, yeah.
There is another collection that we do got a release date on.
What? What's that?
February 11th.
Would that be my Yakuzas? My Yakuzas at last?
Yakuza
Yeah.
Remastered Collection.
Yeah, so the day that I came down to visit you, you greeted me with some amazing news, and I thought you were just trolling me for your own sick pleasures. But yeah, they announced the Yakuza Remastered Collection, which is Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, making it so all 7 mainline Yakuza games are going to be available on one console, which is all I've ever wanted in life.
Yeah.
Especially 5. They announced that they were going to be making them. I thought they were going to, release them periodically, kind of Kiwami style, like they did with 1 and 2. But it appears digitally they are releasing them, in sequential order. 3 is already available. 4, I believe, is December. And 5 comes out in February, the same day that the physical collection comes out. So I'll wait till then, because I still have some Yakuza games to play. But I am so stoked, because the physical version actually comes as a 2-disc. One disc has 3 and 4 on it, and one disc has 5 on it. And it actually comes with a PS3 case for Yakuza 5 to fill the hole in my heart and on the collection shelf for Yakuza 5 not getting a physical release in North America until now. So I'm super excited. And I'm sure that the case will be a weird size, and it will not fit on the on my shelf with the rest of my PS4 games, and I'll be super bummed out about that, just like when I bought the Yakuza 6 art book edition and was bummed out and ended up selling it and buying a standard just so it would fit on the shelf with the other Yakuza games. But that's just me being a weirdo with my OCD shelves, as you call them.
Right.
But yeah, happy. So Yakuza fans rejoice. Now if only we could get Resident Evil 3 out before this console cycle is complete, so we can have 0 to 7, potentially 8 if it doesn't get pushed to the next gen, would be heaven on earth.
Yeah.
We could have the entire series or mainline series on one console. That's all anyone ever wants.
Totally.
I mean, I'm sure they'll put out, it's Resident Evil 2, and I'm sure they'll put out like a crazy box set for everyone who's bought them all up to now, and they'll be like, damn it, I'm not going to sell all these and get that sweet box set. But yeah, if someone mentioned that they could do that, they would rush to get that out. But yeah, I'd really like them to do that with the same love that they put into Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
But that's a side thing. What else we got coming up?
Let's see. Just wanted to give a shout out to Shantae 5, which has officially been named Shantae and the 7 Sirens, which is funny. They go from Shantae 5 to Shantae and the 7 Sirens.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm confused as hell. It's the 5th one and the 7th one. Make up your damn mind.
But
What
they
the
gave
hell?
a little bit more info about that. You're starting to see some more screenshots and stuff. I'm getting the impression that they're kind of returning to the Metroidvania roots, which has me super excited. But anything Shantae gets me hyped.
Well, yeah. We
Yeah.
know you by now.
Right. And so just mention that. Also, Invisible, which Indivisible, which I'm not sure if I mentioned before. That finally got a release date of October 8th, which was
I think we talked about it a little bit.
yeah. What else do we got?
Well, I kind of got like a little addition to something we talked about a couple episodes ago, and that was my the salty feeling I felt when I was playing Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yes.
That the alternate costumes were just color swaps, and lame color swaps at that. I was super mad about that, and I was like, oh, and if they do add them, they're going to be part of like a season pass or some crap.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out they are DLC, but they're free update DLC. So I feel that they filled a little bit of the space that was giving me a little bit of a problem with Ultimate Alliance 3. So we'll see. I almost want to wait until they get all this stuff out. Maybe they'll just do like an ultimate edition.
Yeah.
And with all the stuff, kind of like they do with Mortal Kombat.
Ultimate Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah. Double
Ultimate Edition.
Yeah. Sure. Why not? Oh wait, it's not a Capcom game. They'll probably get sued for trying to do that. Super Turbo Ultimate. Yeah, anyway, so it's cool. We'll see where that goes. I didn't see anywhere where they announced that previously. I don't know if they just kind of announced it as it's coming out, but yeah, free update, it's coming out.
Yeah.
And obviously they have their characters that you can purchase with the season passes, but that's whatever.
Yep.
I've made peace with that, and I kind of expected that. You kind of expect stuff like that this day and age.
Yeah.
One thing I wasn't expecting, though, is apparently Michael Bay is making this new movie that he wants to be a video game series also. And it's just, yeah, I find that very odd. He wants to ruin everything for us that we like, or what?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just a project name or if this is what the movie is going to be called. It's just called Black 5 as of now. And I don't know, what do you think this is going to be about? Just straight up explosions?
Pretty
Are they going to
much.
be explosions with personalities? He's just going to cut out the middleman? There's going to be no characters. The characters are the explosions.
Base explosions.
Yeah.
You gotta watch the Robot Chicken sketch. It pretty much sums up.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I just thought that was goofy, and I wanted to kind of touch on that. That's about all I had to say about it. It's just, huh.
So, I think...
Speaking of movies, sorry, I wanted to mention that Metro 2033 is getting a movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's based off the book. The author of the book, who was he's been turning down offers left and right, apparently, to make these into a movie. And he finally found a team that he figures, like, yeah, these guys can pull it off. I know I said it's the book, but the games follow the books very closely, apparently. So it's pretty much a video game movie. I'd call it that anyway. As I didn't even know they were books until I saw the article. So that's kind of cool if you like those games, and let's hope they do the movie justice, or do them justice in the movie. Have you ever played any of the Metro games?
I have not. I've heard good things, but
I've told you good things.
Yeah,
That should just come as an A1 recommendation right there.
Yeah, just haven't had time. Too many games.
Steak sauce.
You know,
All
I gotta make sure I play all the Bubsy games. You know,
Jump top the list. I'm gonna push those AAAs out of the way to get to some Bubsy sauce.
Yeah, right. But I think we were going to talk about Gamescom, but I think for the sake of time, unless there's something like you really wanted to shout out, I think.
No, we talked about a few things that they kind of talked about at Gamescom, but besides, the big stuff people already know, like Sony buying
Insomniac
and stuff like that.
More Death Stranding and
well, everyone's got a P, so I just assumed that was already going to be in there.
Right. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, besides that, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. Well, so I want to jump into the community question for last time. And it was just building off of our Chrono Trigger hype and kind of like some of the fond memories we had for Chrono Trigger. So threw it out there and asked, what if anybody had any like special or like particular Chrono Trigger memories that they wanted to share. And we got a couple. We got so back in the day gamer says that he's still never played Chrono Trigger. He's saving
way
it
back in the day.
Yeah.
For special day.
It's a perfect back in the day game. But he says he's saving it for later down the road. No time better than the present, I would say. But
It's one of those things. Maybe it's always been hyped, and maybe he just likes the hype to cool down on a game, and it's just people still hyping it. I was about to start playing it, but then someone's hyping it again.
25 years of hype. I will say, for the Cartridge Club that they're playing it seems like the people who hadn't played it, they're giving it the 2 thumbs up. So I think that's great news. But he says he has a funny memory of it. Back in the day, a friend of his worked at a movie store. He used to rob them blind, and he always knew what the good games were. And he said, if you remember before the internet, you only really knew about a game if you played it. Well, of course, he knew what the good ones were because while they were working hard at our jobs, he was sitting there on his ass playing games. Then when he found out what games were good, he would, quote unquote, rent them forever. He was the first person he knew who ever mentioned the game.
Sweet. Hopefully he rented them before they, did that butcher job where they would cut the box, put it in the plastic clamshell case.
Yeah, right.
Just make collectors cry when they stumble upon that stuff.
Yeah. So then, do you nerd? Fun memory of Chrono Trigger. So in short, I was obsessed with the show Sliders at the time. So the very first moment when the gate opens and looked so much like when they traversed dimensions on that show, it just it resonated so strongly with me.
Sliders.
Yeah. It felt like it had been made for me, especially when they pop out the gate near Medina in the monster's house. That's the kind of random portal placement felt exactly what you'd often see in Sliders. And totally, I love Sliders.
Why did that never get a game? Like, that would be, like, the perfect game.
Chrono Trigger?
No.
Kind of. Not, but yeah.
Barely?
Yeah, barely. No, it would make for it could make for an interesting game if done right.
It could have they could have had, like, a whole series of it, like, because every episode, like, every game could have, like, 5 episodes and then just vastly different worlds to explore. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Why hasn't anyone brought that up for Chris's shows that should be made into movies?
Well, there you go.
I'm TMing that. That's mine for next time.
Yeah, right. So then next week, community question will not happen, I guess. I think we're gonna retire the community question. Not because we don't like it, but I think usually the community questions are just kind of, we connect them to what we're already talking about, and y'all are gonna respond with what you like to respond about, and
so we'll just toss out rando questions, kind of
like we always do.
Kind of like I did when we were talking about the Disney games. Do you actually like Lion King kind of stuff? Yeah.
And
so
we
keep it more like a conversation rather than like a bookend.
Yeah. Keep commenting as you do. We appreciate the conversation and your thoughts, and
but it seems like the harder we try for the question, the less people will actually answer it. We're like, damn it, I thought that was an awesome one. So
yeah.
So it saves us having to like think of one, and then potentially there's even been ones we've used it twice because we're like, that was a banger of a question.
Yeah.
And then just no one cares. So it's one of those. Yeah, I think we should just throwing out rando questions while we have conversation works a lot better, and it's more fluid.
Yeah.
In our conversation rather than making it like an event.
Yeah. So then let's quickly look at the upcoming games in the next couple weeks. We'll back up just a little bit since we're a week behind on the podcast. So, of course, Control is available now, as well as World of Warcraft Classic.
Collection of Mana.
Then we got Astral Chain here at the end of the month.
Yeah, at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Friday.
Jeez, the end of the month is here. That's
yummy.
Insane. Also,
it's getting ridiculous reviews. Like I was already super hyped for it, and you know that from the second they announced it.
Yeah. So that's
Maybe
great.
you're
I mean,
gonna-
platinum.
So it looks like you're gonna have to get a Switch on Friday, man.
Yeah, right.
Play this shit.
And also, it seems like I haven't really been seeing much talk about it, but it's getting released same time. Blair Witch.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything else on it. Like, is it even? It must just be a digital.
Yeah, it's digital. Digital
'Cause
only.
I had looked it up a couple times, just randomly thinking about it. Like, I'll be talking to somebody about it and be like, "Oh yeah, should pre-order that because it looks really cool."
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Because of the games getting released that I'm buying physical, I feel like I gotta give them precedence.
Yeah.
But I really want to get Blair Witch. Hopefully, I guess
I'm gonna
since
wait on
it's
it
digital,
'cause-
we'll kind of see how the reviews go.
Yeah, and also like a lot of games that don't get released here, the PAL region seems to have our back on it. So
Yeah, that too.
we'll see. I'm hoping.
And then we got
I've imported more for the VR than I have for anything else. Like I've got really random imports, but for the VR, I've got like 6. So
yep.
that's saying something. I don't import a lot, but when I do, it's
Right
usually
on.
VR.
Another horror game, The Dark Pictures Man of Medan,
Yeah.
or however you want to say that.
I just say Medan, but
Medan.
because it's like a sedan, but with an M.
There you
So
go.
I say Medan.
This is the same. This is Supermassive Games, who also gave us the fantastic Until Dawn. They're kind of doing a similar approach, but smaller scaled games, and they're kind of taking like the anthology approach, where they're gonna do smaller games more often.
Yeah, it's called the Dark Pictures
Yeah.
series or something.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and like what really got me interested, besides just honestly the first trailer, like a thing that I found out after I was already hyped, was you can play up to 5 players locally and 2 players online. I'm like, what? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Potentially.
We'll have
I'm
to see how
hoping
that
it's-
works out. I'm not even sure mechanically what that's about, but we shall find out.
We will. Maybe I'll get. Too bad I don't want to scare the shit out of my kids. I just get the whole family to play it like we've
Yeah,
been
right.
doing with Ultimate Alliance. But yeah, I'll see if I can get. Because I remember when the trailer came out, like I was so impressed by it. I don't do this often, but I showed her the trailer for it, and she's like, "That looks cool." So maybe I can coerce her into playing it with me.
Yeah,
If
maybe.
if it doesn't require a lot of strenuous gameplay, because she tends to give up pretty quick.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
How it works out.
Then we also got the Ninja Saviors: Return of the Warriors.
Yeah, that's been out for a while though, isn't it?
Has it? Is it out?
Yeah, like the Ninja Warriors remake game, right?
I didn't think it was out yet.
I don't know. A bunch of people have been talking about it.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
I guess it's out
pretty
then.
sure-
God damn
I'm
it.
pretty sure I saw Saru talk about it a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
So what the hell, man? Maybe it's
Okay, I'm confused.
maybe there's like a digital version that's coming out now of it, because I know like the repro.
Well, I have a physical version on order that it's one of those like limited companies, so still waiting on that.
What the hell, man?
Soonish.
I don't know. I
Whatever.
may be wrong, but I could swear. I
Whatever.
could swear that people had.
Well, if it's not out, or if it is out, hey, here's another shout out to check it out.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then one I'm excited, that's not necessarily a new, but sort of new, kind of, a little bit new. Catherine Full Body.
It's not new. It's a HD remake.
Remake
Yeah,
with an entire like new character arc that you can do, which is pretty sweet, because before it was you either play through and you tried to go with Catherine with a C or Catherine with a K, and now there's a new character you can do, a Rin. So that's gonna be pretty interesting, and I'm pretty stoked for that. I played through Catherine for the first time earlier this year when the Cartridge Club played it as the game of the month, and I actually played through the game twice to get because I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
It's not a super long game, and I wanted to see both of like the true endings. So I think I'll probably run through that again. I could probably pull that off in a weekend.
One thing that's kind of a bummer is they got that Grandia HD collection, but I'm hearing that it's not really up to snuff. It's not the best way to play it. Which, if you're going to bring out something like that and it's not going to be like the definitive version, why would you bother? So it's a bit of a bummer.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I heard that it's just fine. Some stuff is kind of weird, kind of wonky, which really you shouldn't hear at this day and age.
Is it?
And
Is it
that
only on the
Onondaga-
Switch, or is it on?
It's on this. I don't think it's out on anything else. Yeah, I think it's just Switch right now. I think it
Yeah.
might be getting stuff later.
I don't see why you'd want to play any like RPG on a little screen.
You don't have to.
A lot of people do. Well, that's why they got the Switch, because it's portable.
Then
Play
why
the
don't
games
you
on
just
the
get
go,
Switch
man.
Lite?
Yeah.
We got to troll our Nintendos. We got to get our quota. I don't know. It's just like playing it on it's not as bad as playing it on a DS, and DS was fine for me. But I don't know. Yeah, if it's going to be an inferior port. I mean, I haven't heard unanimously terrible things. I've just heard a couple complaints. So, but really, it's not that new of a game. It should run fine. A game I'm stoked about, and I'm hoping to pick up next time I happen into a GameStop, or hopefully EB Games in Canada carries it too. But I want to get my hands on a copy of Metal Wolf Chaos.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted to check that out for like a long time, since I heard about it on the original Xbox. But don't have one that I could play that on, even if I imported it. So, SOL.
Yeah, I ordered the special reserve version of it, which is
God damn you, fancy.
yeah. It was the same price, but it's like alternate cover, and then it comes with like this like little like top secret file thing, which I think it just has like a couple art cards in it or something. It's kind of like a little whatever, but yeah.
You open the secret file and it says, "Congratulations, you played yourself."
Congratulations, you played yourself. Which I don't know why, but that meme with the dude, whoever that dude is.
Is that DJ Khaled?
Yeah, DJ Khaled. Like, I love that GIF so much. Just his expression. Congratulations, you played yourself. It's just, I love it so much.
That's my favorite thing that guy's ever done. Just like the Drake meme, where he shuns the one thing and he points at the other.
Yeah.
I do that all the time, and I'm like, I hate Drake. That's the coolest thing he's ever done. And someone
Such
else
a good
made
meme.
that. He didn't even do that. Someone made that cool. It was just from a terrible video. So that's when you're ironically cool to me. That's funny.
So it'd be like a Drake comic of Drake, nah, to like DJ Khaled and Drake's actual like career and
Memes
pointing at memes.
Yeah. That's their actual career. Like,
Yeah.
Quit your day jobs. Just make memes of your terrible decisions. I'm actually pretty stoked for Final Fantasy VIII Remastered.
So I won't get into it. I just want to say I don't like Final Fantasy VIII. Killed Final Fantasy. It was the beginning of the end. But I really, 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 if you have not seen the Spoony review of Final Fantasy VIII, watch it. It's hilarious. And it like he put my thoughts into words and did it like in a humorous way. And it's such a like great video. And also his Final Fantasy X review. Just primo. And that was premium Spoony one before like he went to crap and became an insane person who tweets incessantly nonstop about nothing that nobody cares about. Poor guy.
Neat.
Uh,
I guess. Neat. Yeah, but that's about it. We're getting into like next episode territory pretty much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Gears 5 coming out soon.
Yeah,
But
Gears. Oh, I wanted to give a shout out also to Minoria, which just got released. It is the follow-up, the same people who made the Momodora games.
Sweet.
They're like, it's not the Momodora series anymore. Now it's just like a new thing, and it looks really sweet.
It just sounds like they came up with a slang term for the Mines of Moria.
Yeah.
Not feeling it.
And then also we got a release date for Blasphemous, which is another kind of side scroller. I don't know if it's a Metroidvania. It might just be a side scroller.
I think it's just an action adventure.
Yeah. Pixel art focused, looks like evil as shit. Brutal, kind of like
probably gonna hurt your butt.
Like Slain or something.
Dead Cells.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Dead Cells. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Looks sweet. So.
Too many good games. We're in that bullshit time of year.
Glorious
where you're
time.
just like where you've got to really pick and choose, or like
where I really
am I paying bills?
Or
am I just getting all these games?
It's basically like the next few months.
You're not choosing between the games, obviously. That's just ridiculous. Who would do that?
It's like I get angry at myself for buying all these games, and like I can't play them all, but I'm going to do it anyways.
It was me just talking about how I got to kind of play a little bit of a game one day. Yeah, most of the stuff that I played was in like 2 spurts in the last 3 weeks. So
yeah,
I'm still going to buy all these games though, because I'm not just going to not do that.
Right. So
what other addiction do people have this problem? No one else is like, oh man, I'm gonna buy all this crack even though I can't smoke all this crack today. I'm gonna stockpile this crack. I probably won't be able to smoke this crack before like the next time my crack shipment comes in, but I'm still gonna buy that crack too. Oh well.
Need some crack.
First world crack problems.
Need some crack. You need some crack.
Yeah, like no one else has this problem. But it's not really a problem. Like I said, first world problem. I'm insulating my house is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's playable insulation.
There you go.
I'm in a basement. I need lots of insulation.
So
I'm gonna start working on a second layer.
With all these exciting new game announcements, what do you got? What are you gonna be doing in the next couple weeks? What's your plan? Specifically.
I want to beat Fire Emblem. Like I said, I feel like I should have beaten that already. But Astral Chain is just looking so awesome. I might be just jumping back and forth between the two. But who knows with me? Something else might randomly catch my eye like a squirrel. And I'll just be like, oh, this random thing, even though I just got Astral Chain. Because I'm like that.
Tight.
I don't really consider myself very ADD, but when it comes to just playing a game, I'll play a game that I've had for 4 years over one that I just bought. I'm like, cool, yeah, I just paid full price for this, but I'll play that other one. I'm hoping I can play some Man of Medan with someone though too. I really want to try out the multiplayer on that and see what that's all about. So that might be my squirrel. That is only happening though as I am obsessive about getting this shed thing built so I can use my garage, because that affects me playing games too, because I can have a secondary game lab set up to play out there. And actually I'm considering shooting a bunch of video stuff out there so I don't have to be loud enough so you can hear me, but quiet enough so I don't wake everyone in the house up when I'm shooting my videos. So I'd like to have a cool like fallback plan.
Sure.
And just a change of scenery I think would be cool. And somewhere else to put like collection stuff, because collection is getting ridiculously cramped. But what do you got going on in the next couple weeks? What do you got?
So basically I'm going to be focusing on Control. And then after that, probably Man of Medan.
Showing a lot of control.
Yeah. Good. And then we'll see what happens. And we got all kinds of stuff. All kinds.
What kinds?
So.
0?
But, yeah.
I don't know why. That's just I will bug you with it until you play it. for no reason.
Right.
Fair. I'm not even that hurt about it.
Fair enough. But I think I'm going to let everybody know how they can get a hold of us if they are so inclined to. So, of course, the podcast, you can find it on YouTube, SoundCloud. If you use podcast apps, it's probably going to be on there. I don't know what's going on with iTunes. I heard it's getting shut down.
iTunes is a butt.
Whatever. I don't even care about iTunes.
Fuck
Who
Steve
knows?
Jobs.
Right now, there's an automatic upload that I have never touched. That just happens. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but who knows? But if you want to get a hold of me, you can look me up on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram as The Game Grinder. And if you want to get a hold of Jason, you can look him up on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Corpse Leg Gaming.
Absolutely. And I just got to say, fuck Skype. We ain't using Skype no more.
Oh, yeah.
Skype is trash.
I was testing out alternatives for the podcast instead of, because Google Hangouts, for those who doesn't know, Google Hangouts was such a fantastic, service. Like, if you wanted to live stream, if you wanted to podcast, it was so good. You could bring on guests easily. And for some reason, Google's like, fuck all you, and you get nothing. And they shut it down.
They're going to take it away so we miss it, and then they're going to charge for it. It'll be part of the YouTube Premium subscription, I'm sure.
If there's an option for me to pay for it, I probably would. But there's not. So it's gone. But we were testing out alternatives. Last time, if you listened to the podcast, the audio didn't sound great. That was Skype. Just straight up.
Skype was one of the biggest alternatives for this. And we're like, yeah, it sounded pretty crappy. We tried. We really tried. We did some tests, other stuff, and we're like, yeah, I think it'll work.
Sounds like garbage.
And it came out pretty ghetto sounding, and I apologize.
So we just we're testing out this one of these new services that basically kind of they're trying to do what sort of Hangouts did, sort of, not really. This one
without the video.
So this one is audio. We're trying a clean feed this time, and hopefully
so far it's leaps and bounds better than Skype. Skype sucks ass. We tried this, and then we're like, okay, we'll try these levels. We did some audio tampering, and then we're like, let's try out Skype. And as soon as he came on Skype, he was just like, this sounds like trash.
Yeah.
And I concurred.
Immediately.
I was like, you sound awful. It sounded like he came down with a cold in the 20 seconds in between our tests. I was like, what is wrong with this? Why is this so popular? If it's so popular, you figure they'd streamline it so it's not garbage.
Pure trash. So, yeah.
Bonus rant. Fuck Skype.
Yeah, right? So, I think that is going to do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. As always, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
See you later.